change the trajectory of our success to the next level is based on mindset. Most bios start with all the shiny stuff, all the titles and awards and the books we've written. And I certainly have accolades. I've received the award for Top Keynote Speaker of the Year. I have a TED Talk that's been viewed by more than 1 million people. I've authored a few books, and I have a track record of building and leading multi-million-dollar businesses and a reputation for building high-performing sales organizations. But what makes my story powerful isn't the accolades. It's the journey that produced them, the defining moments, the hard truths, and a relentless choice to overcome limiting beliefs. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family with my dad always pushing me to achieve at the highest level. And my heart mom, Barbara, who stepped into my life when I was 5 years old, was a national speaker and vice president of sales. She was the first person who taught me the power of words, belief, and leadership. She also helped me rewrite the earliest story I ever carried, the limiting belief that I was not important and didn't matter. Overcoming limiting beliefs is one of the micro topics within mindset that is resonating. She replaced it with possibility and purpose and the idea that how we think shapes everything. Barbara nudged me onto a stage at 16 years old to give my first talk on optimism, and I had no idea at the time it would become the foundation for my life's work. Through every season, one truth proved itself over and over. We are either the #1 inhibitor or the #1 contributor of our own success. And that happens through one pathway, belief. In high-stakes moments, it's never really about the cards you hold. It's the belief behind how you play them, which leads to behavior, and behavior which leads to our breakthrough. Our beliefs drive our behaviors, and our behaviors produce our outcomes, and every breakthrough we want begins inside. That core idea guided my entire career. I intentionally chose entrepreneurial companies so I could learn how to build a business from the inside out. Eventually, I stepped into executive leadership as Vice President of Sales and Training and Development for CareerBuilder.com, where I saw firsthand how mindset elevates or limits performance. More than 20 years ago, I launched ProActivate, a talent acquisition firm with a very unique model, specializing in high-performing sales, marketing, and executive leaders. Building that business taught me something profound. Talent gets you started. Mindset takes you all the way. It's why I began speaking over a decade ago. And when the bar is high, we rise to meet it. Same people, different beliefs. Because organizations don't just need skill development, they need a shift in thinking.
My passion, whether it's in ProActivate or Peak Performance Mindset Speaking, is about helping people maximize their full potential.
80% of our success is based on mindset. Today, as a global TEDx speaker and 3-time author, I help people and organizations elevate performance by transforming how they think, by teaching them to engage in a mindset shift and how to break through the lies that limit them. Sometimes we have to stop and examine the validity of our thoughts and replace them with the truth that drives extraordinary possibility. And the results speak for themselves. Teams that adopt a performance mindset shift see 31% greater growth potential and 28% higher engagement. Mindset-based development leads to 49% higher win rates and 50% faster onboarding. Employees who shift their mindset become 21% more profitable and 31% more productive. And organizations that fully embrace the performance mindset shift can see a 38% increase in revenue. This is not motivational theory. This is neuroscience, leadership, and lived experience. My keynotes, The Performance Mindset Shift and Breaking Through Limiting Beliefs, are built on the conviction that when you transform belief, you transform behavior, and breakthrough becomes inevitable. My mission is simple: to help people live fully, on purpose, with greater purpose, to elevate performance by changing how people think, and to remind every person that the greatest barrier and the greatest opportunity is already inside of them. I feel so passionate about this area of performance mindset shift and breaking through limiting beliefs because I personally know the impact. So my mission has become to help others live fully, on purpose, with greater purpose. And it has been one of the biggest honors of my life. I'm Jamie Crosbie, and I believe your next breakthrough comes with one decision: to change your belief that leads to breakthrough. Have you ever felt like your whole life was falling apart? Have you felt like you were living in your own lie or someone else's lie? Have you let the lies you tell yourself hold you back from fully living? So, I married a pastor's son. When we met, we realized we were both signed up to run the Chicago Marathon. Our first date was a run around White Rock Lake. Ultimately, we got engaged at the finish line of the Chicago Marathon. It felt like a beautiful beginning to a life dream. Liar, liar. My life was on fire. And even though I saw some flames, I did not want to believe the truth, but I could not lie to myself anymore. I thought my life was on track, and suddenly I realized I did not know my husband. I then knew that the life I had built was falling apart. The home I was sitting in, my children's lives, and the family who surrounded me was all about to change because of the lies I unknowingly lived and told myself. From the unraveling of the lies I lived within, I am now able to understand how to overcome limiting beliefs and fully live. At that time, my daughter Caden was 6 weeks old, and my son Campbell was 17 months old. I found myself going through a life crisis that set a primary limiting belief in motion. I began to believe the lie that I could not trust my own gut instinct. If I could pick someone to marry that I truly didn't know, how could I trust myself to make important decisions in the future? I stopped trusting myself for what seemed like justifiable reasons. How many of you have had an experience like this? We all lie to ourselves on some level, at some point. Some of us are just a little better at it than others. In this talk, we are going to look at the impact of ignoring the lie and the freedom that comes when we choose to address it and overcome it. Funny thing is, I have been working with people to help them trust themselves for years. I got started speaking at 16 years of age about optimism because it was a core belief I strongly held. I've had the opportunity to speak amongst people in all walks of lives and professions. And one of the things I am most passionate about is helping people discover these limiting beliefs that have held them back, because I've personally had the same experiences. We can overcome our limiting beliefs, the lies we tell ourselves that hold us back from living fully. By understanding how the lies inhibit us from success, then understanding where they come from and exactly what they are, we are able to replace them with the truth that will empower us to achieve our full potential. I promise to tell you how to extinguish the flames of lies in your own life. What do you believe is the number one inhibitor of our success that holds us back from living out our full potential? It's all of us. It's you, and you, and you, and me. and specifically the way we think, our mindset. I recall when I was serving as Vice President of Sales at CareerBuilder, often thinking if I could just get my sales organization to perform at a higher level, then we would grow at an even higher rate above our 30% year-over-year target. And the sales team members often thought, if my leader would just remove this obstacle or that challenge, then I could perform at a higher level. The truth is, though, that we each have control of our own success. And the role of mindset is a key determinant of our success. So we are the number one contributor or inhibitor of our success. Out of the thousands of thoughts we have every day, we are naturally inclined to default to negative thinking. Some thoughts we can and must reprogram. I remember our annual ski trip when my son Campbell was 8 and my daughter Caden was 6. Now, if you've ever skied with kids, you know it's always an adventure. We were about to tackle an intermediate steep run, and Caden, fearless as ever, zips on down the mountain like she's auditioning for the next Winter Olympics. Meanwhile, Campbell takes one look at the slope and freezes. And there I was, torn between chasing after my little daredevil before she skied right off a cliff and trying to coax my son down the mountain. It's one of those parenting moments where you realize you might need to clone yourself. As Campbell and I engaged in what can only be described as a high-stakes negotiation, he turned to me with those big, worried eyes and asked, "Mom, why is Caden such a better skier than me?" Now, this is the kind of question that requires a quick yet deeply insightful answer. I looked at him and said, "Buddy, it's not that Caden's a better skier. You actually have better ski skills. But your sister has a different mindset." Poor Campbell was telling himself a lie, that he wasn't good enough, and letting that fear glue him to the top of the mountain. I explained to Campbell that what he was feeling was just fear, and he'd made the mistake of thinking that the fear meant something real, like he wasn't good enough, or that he was destined to become a permanent fixture on the top of the ski run. We all experience 1,000 little failures and doubts every day, and those thoughts and emotions are rarely true. This is why mindset matters so much. We all have fears, those lies our minds try to sell us, but just because we feel fear doesn't mean it's telling the truth. It's essential to recognize that fear does not define us. It's just something we have to break through, and sometimes we must do it afraid. In the end, I told Campbell that the majority of success, whether you're skiing down a mountain or navigating life, is primarily about mindset versus skill set. And then, with a deep breath and a bit of encouragement, he finally pointed his skis downhill, ready to tackle the slope. Our limiting beliefs hold us back. We adopt lies starting in our early childhood and throughout our lives from experiences and people that influence us. Most of us don't even realize when we came to believe that we were not something enough. Good enough, smart enough, funny enough, outgoing enough, talented enough, athletic enough, pretty or handsome enough, or just plain enough. Fill in the blank. What is your lie? Liar, liar, is your life on fire? I will share with you how to break through your lie to your truth. I grew up with my biological mom, who wasn't nurturing at all. If I wanted to spend time with her, my spot was at the foot of her bed while she was glued to the phone or immersed in episodes of Wheel of Fortune. I vividly recall my mom leaving me home alone a lot and often putting me in uncomfortable or unsafe situations. I did not feel cared for. I recall feeling somewhat invisible and not important enough. At the time, I didn't even realize I was adopting this lie. It just became second nature. We often do not realize the moment when we come into agreement with these lies about ourselves. What is your lie? When did you start believing it? It wasn't until I moved in with my dad and stepmom, Barbara, that I realized the belief I adopted, that I was not important enough, was not true. Barbara, who was my greatest life influence, my actual heart mom, spent quality time with me. She attended my events and helped me with my homework. We all enjoyed family dinners together. She took care of me when I was sick. She even helped me break up with boyfriends and quit my first job. She prioritized me. Barbara and my dad taught me that I mattered and to believe in myself and live life to the fullest. Barbara passed away from cancer when I was 24, and in her memory, I got this butterfly tattoo to signify how she created a metamorphosis in me, teaching me to overcome my limiting beliefs. She was truly the wind beneath my wings. I carry her love and passion with me in everything I do. Earlier, I shared a story about my marriage breaking down and how I believed I could not trust myself in decision-making. Later, a close friend reminded me that early on, years prior, I told her that I knew something was wrong in my marriage, but I just didn't know what. And at that moment, I realized I was believing a lie and that I could trust my gut instinct. We must realize the moment we adopted the limiting beliefs in our lives because it affects what we think about ourselves and others, and consequently how happy and successful we are. That is why these lies and their origin are worth examining. When we realize the fullest extent of the lie, we can understand the truth about ourselves and our potential. Understanding that my childhood experience, believing I was not important, perhaps led me to choose a life partner that further illustrated that lie and his choices, and ultimately led me to believe I could not trust my own gut instinct, was a domino effect of lies in motion that had to be halted for me to fully live my best life. What primary limiting belief is holding you back from maximizing your success? Essentially, the core lie you've believed. Who told you that lie? And when did you start believing it? How can you adjust this belief to live to your full potential? Many of us believe the myth that these lies happen to us and we're stuck with them, which can lead to a victim mentality, which is the outcome of a lie. We have a choice. If I kept believing my childhood lie that I was not important enough, I would not be standing before you today. Feeling not anything enough causes us to stay small. When we go out into the world, we're supposed to be as big as possible, to take up as much space as possible with our gifts. We cannot do that if we allow our lies to hold us back. Think of your mindset like a garden with rocks, big, heavy experiences that created the limiting beliefs, weeds, of course, experiences you wish not to cultivate, the ones that support the lies, and flowers, pleasant life experiences you want to grow and replicate. Some of us are stuck holding onto the rocks of the past, making it impossible to move forward. That all changes right now. We all have rocks that set lies in motion, but we can find freedom from the heavy. You can choose to throw the rocks out of your garden. You can choose to stop watering the weeds and to only water the flowers, beliefs that promote growth in your life. I mean, look, I literally threw out my rocks. I went back to White Rock Lake where we had our first date, and I wrote each loss I experienced from my marriage on rocks. Loss of my family unit, loss of relationships with my in-laws, loss of trust, loss of my husband, I threw each rock into the lake, choosing to throw it out of my life and to believe I can trust myself and achieve success. If you know when your lie started, you will then know how deep to dig in the garden to clear out the rocks and plant things with deep roots of truth. Understanding the limiting beliefs we have adopted is the answer to choosing to replace them with the truth. I chose to dig those rocks out of my garden for the sake of being my best for my children. I made a conscious choice to replace the lie with a new truth. I promise to tell you how to get these lies out of your own life. Think specifically about the primary lie you are telling yourself and when did it start? Consider what matters to you, your anchor, the thing that makes the lie not worth believing. For me, it was my children, Campbell and Caden. Identify what the limiting belief is costing you because that provides motivation to change. This requires brutal honesty with yourself. Surround yourself with people that can reinforce the truth in your life and help you see the lies and move past them, like my mom, Barbara, did for me. If we can understand how important mindset is, if we find the origin of our limiting beliefs and what they are, and then if we can root out the rocks and weeds and take action to replace the lie with truth, this is how to overcome our limiting beliefs, to replace them with the truth that will propel us forward to maximizing our success. I hope you can clearly see the lies you've believed and that you will learn how to scream back at the liar. What is your new belief that you will carry forward from this point on that will allow you to fully live? Let go of any part of you that doesn't believe it. Discover the truth that will be your life vest when the waters of lies rise and your fire hydrant when the flames of lies burn bright. You have the truth inside your heart. Become adamant and audacious to fight for what is true. Again, remember your anchor that makes this lie not worth believing so you can break through to your truth. The best version of you stands on the other side. You get the final say on your truth. You step into a high-stakes room, poker chips stacked, cards dealt, and the air charged with possibility. Every decision, every move, every gesture counts. Success isn't luck, it's how you play your hand. But what if the difference between where you are and where you're truly capable of being is just one more hand? Let's play. And when challenged again, you found even more. That is the performance mindset shift. It's the moment you stop playing not to lose and decide to play to win. Your first hand is rarely your best. It's the ones who stay at the table when the stakes are high. And that's not just motivational, it's measurable. It's the mindset that drives engagement and retention and top-line results, even when the market deals a tough hand. That's how you build teams and organizations. Because here's the thing. Sometimes the biggest wins don't come from the table full of chips. They come from a single moment. A moment when your belief is tested. When you say you believe something, and then how you show up doesn't quite match. Let's make that real. I need a volunteer to come forward. Just one volunteer. Don't overthink it. Okay, awesome. Come on up. Really? Come on up. Hi.
Hi, I'm Angela.
Angela, nice to meet you. We have a whole room of high performers, and just one person came up. And it happens every time. Okay, here's what I have for you. Angela, I have a $100 bill. That's all I needed. Everyone give Angela a big round of applause for stepping up. You may be seated. Thank you. Now, for the rest of you, why didn't you raise your hand? Usually, it's rooted in fear. It's not because you couldn't, but you hesitated. It's almost always about hesitation. Every single day, opportunities show up just like this. And they may not have a $100 bill attached, but they carry value all the same. A conversation you could start, or a risk you could take, a new idea you could put on the table. And the only real question is, will you step forward? It's not about pretending the odds are easy. It's about training your mind to win, even when the cards aren't perfect. What's really the number one thing that holds us back from reaching our full potential? What do you believe is the number one inhibitor of our success? It's not the market. It's not the economy. And it's not the competition. It's us. It's you and me and every one of us, and specifically the way we think, our mindset. We are either the number one contributor or the number one inhibitor of our own success. So ask yourself, what thoughts might be holding you or your team back right now? And what would shift if mindset started leading the way? Because in high-stakes moments, it's never really about the cards you hold. The only thing that separates those who succeed from those who don't is whether or not they have a growth mindset. A fixed mindset traps us in what I call the situation table, where we focus on losses and barriers, bad cards we were dealt. We replay every hand that didn't go our way and convince ourselves the odds are against us. But a growth mindset moves us to the solutions table, where every challenge becomes a new hand to play smarter. 38% higher sales. That's not motivation. That's measurement. And it's why he said, it's not reality that shapes us, but the lens through which we view reality. They don't stay stuck in the last hand. They step back up to the table, wiser, calmer, and ready to play again. Here's what we're going to do, team. We're going to play the limbo. We're going to start with the bar low. Go ahead and go under the bar. Come on. Woo, you might lift it a little bit. We don't want anyone to fall. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and go under the limbo. When the stakes are low, what happens? See that? We play it safe. We shrink to fit under the low bar. That's exactly what happens when our self-talk or our expectations drop. Failure is a stepping stone to success and our path to growth. You know what's even harder than failure? Discomfort. Failure at least gives you closure. You know you've hit a wall. But discomfort, that's the messy middle. It's awkward. It's uncertain. And it stretches us. And yet, that's exactly where growth lives. Think about it. Your biggest leaps didn't happen when life was easy. They happened when you were out of your depth and chose to take the next step anyway. Because here's the truth. Things have to challenge us in order to change us. Don't let your comfort zone become your cage. Great performers don't avoid discomfort. They model it. When you lean into the stretch, others around you learn it's safe to grow too. Because here's the mindset shift. Don't run from discomfort. Step into it. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. That split second when our brain said, wait, what if I fail? That hesitation that tiny internal pause is one of the biggest obstacles of performance. And it doesn't just show up in moments of fear. It shows up every day in high-pressure rooms, during negotiations, challenging conversations, and any time the stakes rise. Everyone up on your feet for a moment. Everyone up. Stand up. And if you have your goals written down, stay standing. If you have your goals written down, stay standing. Odds are at this point, 2/3 of the room is sitting down. Now, if you have personal and professional goals written down, not just professional, stay standing. All right, let's take it a step further. If you actually look at the goals you wrote down on a regular basis, stay standing. And if you have accountability for the goals you have written, stay standing. Let's give this group of high achievers a hand that are standing. Way to go. You may be seated. Awesome job. The why is what keeps you playing when the odds look impossible or the cards seem stacked against you. The bigger the why, the bigger the try, and the better the how. The what is the move, the goal itself. And the opposite is true. A lot of action without knowing the why behind it is purposeless. We must both cast and carry the vision. That is knowing our what, our why, and our how. Your self-talk is either stacking the odds in your favor or sabotaging the hand before you play it. I'm behind. That's folding too early. The words you use in your head shape the risks you take, the energy you project, and the results you create. So the next time pressure hits, ask yourself, what story am I betting on right now? Growing up, I didn't feel seen. Time with my biological mom often meant sitting quietly at the foot of her bed while she was on the phone or watching TV. And somewhere in that silence, I made my first bet against myself, the belief that I'm not important enough. I didn't even know it was a belief. I thought it was a house rule, fixed, unchangeable. But here's the truth. What once kept you safe becomes the weight that limits your play. Here's what is true. The voice of your inner limitation always raises its bet right before you're about to win the hand. Because when you change the story, you change the stakes. You stop playing not to lose and start playing to win. The freedom that comes when you finally cash in those old chips and leave the table lighter. And when it feels like the odds are stacked against you, remember all the hands you've already won just by staying in the game. The performance mindset shift comes alive. Mindset is the foundation. Action is the amplifier. And belief is the breakthrough to the big win. Because belief will either keep you playing small or push every chip forward in faith. Everyone stand with me in the winning stance. Feet grounded, shoulders back, chin up. This is your winning stance. You've already proven you can win hard games. Maybe the point was never to become someone new, but to remember who you've always been when it bets on itself. So choose the winning stance. Choose the shift. Choose to live fully, on purpose, with greater purpose. Because your next win isn't waiting for someday. Your game starts now. Go all in. I'm Jamie Crosbie. Thank you very much.
I wanted to get a fresh set of eyes on our business, and I reached out to Jamie Crosbie to come in and provide her peak performance mindset training. And we were astonished about some of the key points that we pulled away from this and how the impact it had on our business.
I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting Jamie Crosbie from ProActivate about 3 years ago. And she has had multiple training sessions with our company, and they have been so dynamic.
I saw her speak at the Women Sales Pros Conference to a group of women business owners. There was about 50 of us in the room. The presentation was on mindset and getting rid of those self-limiting beliefs. And she was really able to impact the audience in a way that was different for each and every one, but I could see on their faces that they were so excited to understand themselves in a different way.
She just captures the audience with her authenticity and with her stories, and that shows us how to get past the barriers. Like literally break through the barriers.
She uses a lot of personal stories to connect with the team, and she's got high energy. She is one of those people that you love to listen to, and she's an expert in her field.
You will be so happy to have her speak with your group. It's been my pleasure to be able to use her over and over again, and I haven't even started yet. We can't wait to have her back.